Hello, my name is Eric Finley, and I'm also known as the Artist 7. I'm an artist of many sorts, but I'm most popularly known as a street artist or graffiti artist. The slides that you're looking at now are some examples of some local murals that I painted. Most are probably just for fun. A couple of them were commissions. This one's located on Central Avenue in Macaulay. This was actually one that I painted of my nephew at a recent art exhibit at Chattanooga Workspace last week during the Ava Gallery Hall. But I'm basically here just to expose you to the culture of street art, to basically give you some examples of basically high execution, what I consider a high level of execution of like graffiti, you know what I mean? And just to basically try and gain some support for potential locations where non-commissioned murals could be painted, or support for a possible street art festival, like an annual street art festival here in Chattanooga that I'm trying to work into development. So these are still more examples of some of my murals. This is over on 11th Street. And I didn't know this slide was going to take so long. This is my first time doing this. I'm a little nervous, as you can probably tell. But this is actually right around the corner at the end of this street. So if you go to the end of Rossville Avenue and you make a left, there's a building where they've allowed us to paint some murals there, and this is one of those murals. So most of these are not far. This was located on Main Street at one time at the Discoteca building before it got demolished. A lot of people were able to witness this, so it was kind of popular around town for a little while. But yeah, just another example. I also have some example of other, this was just something I did for fun as well. I'm a Star Wars fan, so I was just, I figured that would be something cool to paint. A lot of people can identify with that. Everybody knows Stormtroopers, Star Wars, yeah. I also have some examples of some other artists' work, which this is still mine, of course. This is located at the Chattanooga Workspace Studios, actually downtown on 6th Street. It's in the hallway. I have a studio down there called Deep Space Art Studio, and I just painted this mural in the hallway near the studio just to kind of give it some personality or whatever. More graffiti. This is some more stuff that I did down the street that no longer exists. The thing about street art is it can be kind of temporary in some cases, because a lot of times in major cities where you have a scene where a lot of artists are painting in a particular location, a lot of things get painted over fairly frequently. So it kind of doesn't last, This was a painting that I actually did on canvas. It's all spray paint, but I did it on canvas for our art show, and also to kind of showcase the technique of spray painting and whatnot. So this is actually another artist's work. His name is Soten, S-O-T-E-N. He's over in the UK, friend of mine. And I really like his work. I'm kind of inspired by a lot of his stuff, so I wanted to include some other artists' work in this presentation as well, just so you could kind of get an idea of the high level of execution that these people, achieve with their skill and their technique. This is the same artist as well. Just another example of his work. You can tell it has a lot of graphic elements to it. Some of it looks real like graphic design oriented. And a lot of these artists, they're street artists, but there are other artists or artists in other ways as well. Like they may be fine artists on canvas, or they may be graphic designers, or have 9-to-5 day jobs, but at night they still, go out and paint the city or paint trains or whatever the case may be. So, but yeah, this is also over in the UK. And I'm hoping to maybe inspire people that have an interest in this sort of an art form to not only get other artists involved in creating this type of stuff, but like I said, to kind of try to create a scene here in Chattanooga, and not a graffiti scene as it's commonly known, but more along the lines of an art movement, or something like that. These are a couple of coffee table books that are fairly easy to find. Graffiti World, you can find that at Barnes & Noble. It's a pretty good book. A lot of good examples of good street art from around the world. They're international books. Monochrome, it's a fairly newly published book. It's also from the UK. That's a page from the Monochrome book. You'd have to order that online, of course, you know, from overseas, but that's like the top book that I've come across with like the most, you know, great examples of street art that I've ever seen anyway. So a lot of that stuff kind of motivates me, seeing that we don't really have a scene around here locally. I have to kind of look outside the scene to kind of raise the bar for myself, I guess you could say. But anyway, these are just more examples. I guess you can't really see that well, but these are like multi-story buildings that are painted by, you know, traditionally known graffiti artists that have basically evolved their art form to a higher standard, to where they're being commissioned and, you know, traveling around the world to paint murals for different companies or just individual clients or art galleries. They also have street art festivals in most major cities. See No Evil is a street art festival in the UK. It's really large. It's basically a festival they hold every year, and they totally paint an entire community, like every building in this maybe 2 or 3 block radius from top to bottom, every side. I mean, artists come from all over the world to participate in this festival. And they have these festivals all over the country. Like there's festivals in New York, San Francisco, most major cities, and some not so major cities. They even have a festival in, I think it's Johnson City, Tennessee. I participated in one maybe 2 years ago. So that's basically it, you know.